Yes, sir.
Awesome,
Stop
dude.
the music.
Right on. All right. In 1, 3, 2, 1. Hey, folks. Thanks for coming out to FNL's OODA Looping the charts, putting our levels in, and looking for a trade plan for the day. Remember, trading futures contains risk, and only risk capital should be used. You can lose all your money trading futures. So please just use risk capital and practice. So we have a disclaimer on the screen. You can take a picture of that if you want. Take a screenshot of it. But welcome, Travis. How are you this morning?
Hey, Rob. Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Doing good. Doing good. Beautiful morning here in Northern California. The sun's just starting to come up. We've got a big social this weekend. So a few of us are going fishing tomorrow. Have a couple foursomes playing golf tomorrow or on Friday. And then we got a barbecue on Saturday. So that should be a lot of fun for the NoCal.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. It should be a blast. So, this whole what we try to do here in the morning is develop a trading plan. We're not trying to predict where the price is going to go. What we're trying to do is have a plan for when it does do something. We have a plan, right? So if it goes up, we have a plan. If it goes down, we have a plan. And if it goes sideways, like we saw, maybe on Monday, last week, a couple of days, we have a plan as well. So I think that is, the difference between what we do and maybe what some other people might do is they are literally trying to predict where they think the price is going to go. And that's not what we're here to do. The market it's too unpredictable to try and predict every day where we think it's going to go. But to have a plan, now we're ready for when it goes there.
In a different sense, it's okay to not be able to predict the market all the time, but you want to be able to point out when you have an advantage. And that's when you can predict it. You could say from this point, it's supposed to go that far forward. But to try and say which way it's going to go 100 points up or down from a 5-minute chart is sometimes hard to do.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Yep. So that's why we go to our longer term charts and OODA loop them, get a sense of which way we believe the price may be going, or have a bias. I guess I do like to have a bias when I go into opening bell of which way the charts are telling me that the price should want to go. Now that changes a lot, and that's okay. Because if it does change now, I have a plan for if the price goes against what my bias might be. So let's get going on the daily. Well, why don't you start? Let's start with the 5-minute. We like to do a quick little overview of that.
Yeah, just real quick. This morning we were kind of back and forth across the EMAs. You can see the market was below the 200. If I scrunch it just a little bit, we came up from below the 200, hit the 200 with a strong down move overnight, about 3 in the morning, if you will. Good little turnaround there. But
So
since it,
when
go ahead.
London opened,
Correct.
basically, the market dropped like a rock.
And then recovered all of it. Tried
Yep.
to hold on top of the 200 and start an uptrend, couldn't quite do it. Has since broken back down through all of the EMAs, showed a turnaround at the 21 and 89, and it looks to be that the pressure is down from the EMAs, but up from this point at about 41.83.25 to 41.81.25, 2 point gap. Drawn bodies to wicks the first time it hit. We actually had this level drawn before any other time it hit because we were looking at where to fill a short trade before. Again, knowing that if you can fill your short trade without breaking a new lower low, it's a higher percentage trade. Had you done that in this case and cleared your stop of the turnaround, you potentially had a couple trades, maybe a third one, but really the first two where you saw the turnaround at the 10, turnaround at the 21 and 89. A little tougher to get into the second one, but as long as you were able to clear your stop after a turnaround signal and fill before you're back at the bottom, doing all right. Again, a little tricky trade to get into, but following rules of clearing your stop and filling without making a new low, you did pretty well.
Yep. Excellent. Let's go ahead and take a look at the daily.
Cool.
And boy, we sure broke out of the channel yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, so first thing I noticed, we kind of hinted at it this morning. We talked about our lowest level yesterday at this box, and I did point at this lowest double tap and say, if it keeps going into that box, it's likely to turn around there. Same thing, bodies to wicks. So I'm going to extend that and kind of show where the market did actually go. Again, this level was drawn yesterday. And had I been trying to fill a short trade before then, I would have been paying a little more attention to where that level was. I left in the afternoon, but you can see, well, I got to extend it to where we're at, don't we?
Yeah.
We're in April. Bingo.
There you go.
So same box that was on the screen, all I did was extend it to the right, drawn bodies to wicks, showed a support level that we could anticipate the market turning at, but not assume. Or maybe in a downtrend, you'd use it as a target to say, I want to take off profit at each one of these key levels. And in this case, it turned around right there. So
Yeah.
since
The other thing we did too is we talked about 41.95 yesterday in session as being a huge spot to get below. If we got below 41.95, we could see another 30, 40 point drop, which is that section. Now, what's 41.95? Why do you say that? A couple of people asked me that. Well, that was yesterday's low. So the wick from yesterday went to 41.95. So that was an area that if we could get below that, like you just said, we could have another 40 or 50 points in store. And sure enough, it went 40 or 50 points in the last hour of the day. The last 45 minutes of the day, it dropped another 45 to 50 points. Pretty wild.
it's a big red candle too.
It is. It's biggest one on the screen, it looks like.
Right.
So,
and since then, we've come back and retested the channel I had drawn almost. I mean, it looks very, very close. We'll see as we go down to our charts, but the common tendency is to break out the bottom, come back and retest the channel to push down. And it looks like overnight I've hit right up against the way I had the channel drawn. So we'll see. We'll zoom in and look at it. But the common tendency, again, break out the bottom of a channel, come back and use what was support as resistance. So a very good sign that we could be crashing down a little bit.
Yep, we very well could be. We could also see maybe possibly a move up today. Again, we're trying to prepare for if the market goes up or down or sideways. And if we were going to reclaim some of this red candle, getting back up to 4,200 would probably be our first target, just based on your channel, just based on your channel and that area that you have, sectioned off there in blue. That might be our first target if we do decide to make a move up after opening bell. So if we go down, well, we've got from here down to 41, wherever that the bottom is there. Yep.
45.
There we go. So we got 41.45. And then I would say below that, we've got all the way down to that wick in late February. Down at the bottom here. There you go. Down to
40.89.
40.89. We'll probably have a stop at 4100, right? Because it's a big number. Yeah. So, I would probably expect it to kind of hang out at 4100 to 41.89 for a little while, maybe chop kind of like it did yesterday. So we've got a little bit of a plan. Just looking at the daily chart of if the price goes up or down. And then if it just decides to chop going sideways, well, we might want to stay out until it makes its move. So perfect. Anything else? Anybody else want to add anything for the daily?
I'm close to it. 1 second.
Okay.
I want to pull up yesterday and show, because we use that range as a target, right? That big blue range. And I'm going to pull it up on another set of charts so I don't have to get too squirrely here. But I'm going to go all the way back to when we hit that level and show that it doesn't show it on a daily. But when you look at, again, the top of this box is 42.05 or so, so it's the same top of the level. You can see how yesterday we came down to that level, and that was our target for the day. That was where we hung out for all day until, like Rob said, we finally did break down and keep going down, but there was a lot of sideways. Had you used that as your target, you would have been happy those next couple hours. Like, yeah, I knew this is where we'd hit resistance, so I took my fill right before we hit it. Or maybe even you just see all this resistance and you say, yeah, that's where it's supposed to slow down, so now I can start scaling out a little heavier.
Yeah. Because and that's where I made a big mistake yesterday. I was trading that whole area in session yesterday, and I was getting in at the top, going short, filling for 6 points,
and trying to do too much.
But trying to do too much. I had my fill way down at way out of the way, and I never got my first 3 trades. I never got to that below 41.95 to where I felt like it was going to run. Never got there. It kept coming back up and wicking me out, on a short stop. And but I'd get my 6, but then I would lose 5. Get my 6. Lose 5 on my second contract. So I should have in that scenario, and Ken Dumont brought it up. I appreciate Ken. We had a great discussion. He's like, Rob, this looks like he doesn't want to break 41.95. Maybe you should just be taking 10 on your second one. I'm like, dang it, you're right, Ken. I probably should have done that.
So much clearer in hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so much clearer in hindsight, yeah. So
that's where that repeatable decision comes in, where it's like, how much resistance do I take my profit, and at what point do I try and keep it running?
Yeah. So it could have been a very, a highly profitable day in points yesterday. Ended up being a scratch day for me, which is fine. My motto, you guys know what my motto is, small expense, small profit, small expense, small profit, big profit. So yesterday was one of those small profit days, and that's okay. They happen.
So target on the bottom side, this first support level, and then the very bottom. Target's on the upside, right around 4,200. After that, we might get to that 4,242 to 4,275 roughly zone. That purple one that was all the way back. That was one of the heaviest zones we've ever had in October. So if we got back up to there, I would strongly anticipate a turnaround because of how much support we've had. So let me extend this box a little to the right and kind of talk about what I mean there. That should probably go. It's about to be a new month. Boom. So what I mean is that we've hit support here so strongly that I remember trading these charts on a 5-minute. Even through this area, that level was unrealistically respected. Doesn't look like it on a daily, but I can assure you, if you go back and do some homework, look at it, you'll surprise yourself. Be like, you mean 6 months later? Yes. I didn't believe it. I would have laughed if somebody told me the level I drew 6 months later would be as key as it was, and it was awesome. Created some awesome days of trading. Bottom line, if this green candle pushes up to there, and if the market turns around there, that could be a pretty intense downtrend because we're right near the top of the channel and we're back at that retest of the support resistance zone. So, a couple reasons that if we don't get through that level, it could be a pretty strong downtrend. Same thing if we break through. Could be a lot of people wanting to go short. So if we did end up getting through that level, I wouldn't hold on to too many shorts after that because it's a very scary breakout area if we get back above it. It's my thoughts.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so 240. Let's start.
240, 4 hours becoming. Well, I have liked it for a while, but it's becoming one of my favorite charts to look at.
I've had it for so long that I don't know. I put it on at first. I heard a couple people laugh at me. I remember Julia Cordova, I believe, was one of the first ones I heard talking about it, and it was a long time ago.
I was trying to remember who we heard that from first.
Yeah, it was Cordova. Yep.
And I know a few of us kind of just threw it on like a 240. How do we do that? What's that? People like this? And then you realize that it's kind of in between the daily and the hourly, and the key levels that it shows are really, really heavy. So I like a 240. I agree with you.
Me too. It's become one of my favorites.
So just glancing, looking at a downward move, I could see if those angles match. If they do, I would leave a channel, meaning the bottoms and the tops from where we're looking at. See how it turns right on that level. I might leave something like, well, that? I don't know.
Charts are getting messy.
I know there's a lot of stuff on these. I can delete the white channel over here, but...
And this is what happens, folks, a lot of times by the end of the week. By the end of the week, especially if you're ranging a lot, if you're going back and forth through areas that you've had opening ranges on, that you've had channels on, that you've had key levels on, by the end of the week, your charts start getting a little messy. I know mine do. And then a lot of times what I'll do is on Sunday, I'll kind of, all right, let's kind of reset ourselves here. We'll keep some of the key levels, but maybe I'll get rid of some stuff.
Yeah, but we are hitting a lot of key levels too.
We are.
So explain, like some of these are drawn from a while ago, and we just happen to be right in the middle of like big support range, big support. So
that's what I mean about, when it's up only, then you're getting away from all those levels, right? And you're creating new levels. But when you drop back down into levels that we had, 2 months ago, well, there you go. Some of those levels carry over again, and then they become applicable again. That's the neat part. So you can start using them again like you used them a couple months ago.
I remember how surprised I were when I realized that levels and channels would hold over opening bell. I didn't even give it the chance to hold till tomorrow. I just remember thinking, whoa, my channel from 7 a.m. is holding at 1 o'clock today. And now I hear that and kind of laugh, like my channel from 3 weeks ago is turning around right at it. And it's not, I mean, I don't mean it like it's my channel. Our goal is for every one of our FNL members to be able to recreate the same experience where you identify those levels or identify an angle on both sides of the market, and that pattern's meant to continue. And it doesn't every time, but when it does, it's like a powerful feeling of like, I drew this line. Did you see the market stay right on my line for blank amount of time?
It's neat. It really is neat. And at first, that if anybody is a little intimidated by the levels or drawing channels, I would highly recommend you go watch the Mike Quiggle video on the website. We watched it last night in session, and it's a really good one on how Mike started drawing his channels and how it helped him, identify points of entry where his stop should be and when he was in a good trend. And at first it can seem a little intimidating, but go watch that video and just start drawing them. You'll think you'll be surprised.
And Mike's the first one to say, like, I was hesitant doing this. I was the same way. I think all of us are. Like, you mean you just, and he's like, yeah. And I was resistant for so long. And then finally I gave in. And then he talks about how it helps him. So I agree. Go listen to him speak for himself.
Yep.
But awesome situation where I've had a few different, the 10 EMA was like that too. I was so resistant to the 10, and then finally after seeing so much confluence with it, it's like fine, and now I love it.
I love it.
But I wouldn't hand it to a brand new trader. I don't think. Nothing against anyone. I don't know. I don't want to go there. I'm not babysitting. So anyways, 240 hourly.
We're kind of right in the middle right now, aren't we? So
yeah.
Yeah, we're right in the middle of the move, though. The current candle, see where it's right in the middle. So we're kind of at this influx point of, on this chart of, are we coming down now for a lower low, or are we going to pause here and kind of chop for a little bit and decide to go back up? That's where opening bell is going to really tell us. So
I like that we use the top resistance angle on the way down and that it matches up with this channel. So to me, my bias is short, at least until we get back to about 4150 down here.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of how we show a turnaround right there, and it lines up again with from the top of the move through those candles, drawn pretty accurately. If you draw it as close as you can. I wasn't trying to fit it to the current market, but it fits perfectly. I was trying to fit it to that candle from the top of the green, and that's how it showed up for me. So,
yep, pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Actually, one last thing. I'm going to take that 240 channel and apply it to all my charts so I can scale down and see when we get back to it.
Perfect.
So it'll be one more channel that's all over everything.
Right.
And one thing that Rob said, it does look messy. When you draw your own levels, you tend to not feel like it's as messy. You remember where things are from and you recognize what they are. Whereas if somebody who's never heard me speak before walked up to my charts, they'd be like, whoa, that's too much, man. It's too much.
Randy's heard that before, haven't you, Randy?
Yeah, I was just thinking it's so funny. I'm working on cleaning up my charts, and you guys are working on putting new things on your charts.
Yeah, and there's a balance.
Yeah, we're going to find that balance.
Yeah, there's a balance, and everybody's different. I tend to have probably the cleanest charts, but they do get messy by the end of the week. I'll tell you that for sure. They do get messy by the end of the week. But I found when I can start fresh on Sunday and go in with a fresh mind, but still have some of those levels. And the beautiful thing about Ninja Trader too, is that, you can just copy charts and, make new charts and have different workspaces, and you don't have to be stuck with, okay, this is my chart. So it works out pretty well with Ninja.
Ninja's very flexible. I know we talk about it sometimes without being another salesperson. Ninja can become an extension of your brain. You want to draw a tool there, draw it. It's there. Whether it's a channel, a box, a circle, a new chart, whatever it might be, you can make it happen pretty quickly. You can change it to whatever color you want. Just, it's there. And that's cool because I had an old charting service that was difficult for me to do that. So I'd be like, hey, I need to draw a channel, and it would take me 5 minutes to get it where I want it. If I didn't drop it right, I'd just delete it and start over. Whereas in Ninja, once you kind of learn what tools are what, you see these dots on the channels and you can actually adjust them accordingly. Like if I want to move it kind of back and forth, I can do that wherever I want to and just kind of re-angle my channel as opposed to having to reset it, if you will.
Redraw it. Yep. Very nice. Hourly chart.
You see that same red channel just kind of reconfirming a lot of boxes on our way down through, but
pretty nice. You see how it's respecting that channel. So we're
at least on the upside.
At least on the upside. So we are, at the top. Looks like a good turnaround at that channel on the hourly. So
I think I'm even going to fit it a little better from the hourly. See how it's off the top of that candle.
Yeah, and sometimes you do have to make some little adjustments when you go to a smaller time frame from a bigger time frame. No big deal.
There you go. It often will just line it up better for the bigger time frame, as long as you're drawing it accurately to the points, if you will. I like to use that green, and then again, you could come back and angle it just perfect, and you find that we kind of poked out, but came back in that's a really clean line though. You see what I'm saying? From the top of the green, like we start right at that wick at the beginning of the move, and all of these candles are on that same line. This is an hourly chart. That's an hour of time that comes up and hits right up against this for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours or so before pushing down. And now we've used that same resistance level. So pretty strong. I'm not really thinking long until we're back above this, because as many times as we hit that and push down, I'm just going to assume that's what's going to happen until we break through.
Yep. I like it.
All right. 15 and then 5. So 15 shows where we went down all the way to that bottom area.
Yeah, now that we get to the 15, we're still looking down, but we're starting to look a little choppy here. It's going sideways. We had to move up, like we had talked about earlier. We had to move up from last night, hit kind of an area of resistance there, and we weren't really able to get over it. And now it's dropped back down. So, we're kind of right in the middle right now, again, to where this price could go up. And we're starting to see our chop zone now as we get to these smaller levels. So, this would be the first area. Once we get above that, we'll look to go long. We're already below a level that I thought we might hang out for a while. Here's our next level, right? Here's our next level. And we're just starting to draw this now. And then Travis has a great level here on the bottom. So within this level, we have a few little levels, and we'll see this a little bit more clear when we go to the 5-minute chart, but you can start doing it on your 15-minute chart for what you want to trade.
Agreed. I really like the levels drawn from the 15. So we might even do that real quick and we can see how it relates to the 5.
Yep.
Use bodies to wicks the same way. So I'll go ahead and draw the one on the bottom. That's the one that stands out the most to me right here. So I'm going to use this area right here, bodies to wicks, go across. There it is.
Yep.
So now I have a place that says if we come back to there, it's likely to turn around. Or if I'm trading short, I want to fill before I'm back at 41.65.
And then when I want it to break through, then I have a whole nother level I can trade to below that. So again, our goal is to trade level to level when we get into a trend. If we're not trending, if it's going sideways, well, we're not really trading to a level, are we? We're just going sideways. So,
and it also gives me a great place to look for it to break through, retest, and then continue a trend. And that's the overlooked trade that is one of my favorites, is to use this level instead of fighting the trend, wait till it breaks, and then use it in the direction of the already trend.
And we saw that yesterday at 41.95. It broke through 49. It pulled back, it retested it, and then boom, it dropped like a rock. So, we see that quite often. And if you look for it, you'll see it. And we see it. What's really clued me into that too is that opening range, that 30-second opening range that we've been doing, how it retests that opening range and then goes in the direction that it moves out of. That's kind of reinforced that whole retest of a key level.
5-minute.
Let's go to the 5.
Let's do it. So we worked our way down, execution charts. Go ahead.
Yep. No, I was just saying execution chart here. And this will kind of give us most of us have looked at a 5 for a long time. So this probably should be pretty familiar to most people right now.
So what I'm doing is using it from the top to the bottom as a retracement level. You see the fib tool there. So we'll see how far up it goes of that whole move. You might even measure it from the high at 815. Both could be very, very correct, if you will. I like this triple tap area on the bottom, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, a bunch of different areas of support. We talked about that in the beginning of the session, but drawn bodies to wicks at 735, bottom of the green to the bottom of the wick. Gives me a range to look for a retest. You can see right now this green candle has come up and kissed where you would expect the retest. So it's a little shallow, approaching opening bell, but the market's showing exactly that common tendency. You break through the key level, you come back, you retest what was support as resistance, and then push down. So it would not be unlikely at all to see a shallow retracement here based on how much support we had at this perfect level, and then that support becoming resistance on the other side. So seeing that candle come to the quarter tick of my box is something that it almost sounds arrogant to say. You'll get used to it. You'll get used to being able to identify to the exact level where something should turn around. And then you have to wait and say, when is the trade worth taking?
Yep.
For me, this one is not worth taking, even if it does exactly what it should do from that area.
So right now my bias is short. There's no doubt about that. I'm not looking long right now. I need the price to really get above, I would say 41.95 right in there before I really look long. If I start going up here, this is going to be a chop zone for me. Now, we do have a 30-second opening range that will trade. And that's the only time that I'll look to take a trade, or if it retests that opening range, I might take a trade. But really, I need this to get above this area, get above these EMAs before I look to go long. That's just me personally.
Agreed. One way I look at this is that we tried to hold below this level. It's likely we break back above it. In the event that we break back above it and show a turnaround, my headroom in this trade is not going to be the bottom of the mark. My headroom is going to be that support level that held for an hour and a half or however long this is for 5 different trades. So even though it is a chop zone, it gives me a target to say, as long as I can fill before I get to roughly 41.83, we can get an exact number, then I have 41.8350, then I have a good chance of hitting my fill, knowing that the market's likely to reuse that level again into the future. Like we were just saying, whether you draw it from the 5-minute or the daily or the hourly, whatever you use, using those bodies to wicks to recognize the support and resistance and seeing it hit over and over, very likely that we see either resistance here, or if it breaks up, I still trust this downtrend under the 289 in the top of the channel, remember? So kind of like Rob says, that 41.95 area, I'd like to go short and fill before I'm back here, if and only if it shows me a turnaround up there. We might just blow through it, and in that event, I never get a trade.
Here's another reason why I'm looking at all this chop. Look at all this price action right there. You see that? Where we could draw little levels. See how it's just chopping in through here? I don't want to get caught up in that. Yeah, I don't want to get caught in that if I don't have to, right? So I want to, hopefully, if we do go long, it blows through that, and I don't have to sit there and try and trade it.
I agree with you on the chop zone this morning. Seeing that comfort level back there, knowing that it's basically the same one over here, makes it a little less predictable, makes it where the market will rebound there. So I like Rob's idea of long above or short below.
And anything in the middle, I just, that's okay. Now, again, we do have an opening range trade that we'll be taking. Some of us will. That may counter what we just said, but that's almost a forced trade, because we're looking for a repeatable, something that's repeatable, and that opening range trade is something that's repeatable. Keep an eye out for that.
We're looking for the momentum that the market is trying to create.
Correct. So, and sometimes it fools you a little bit, and we're trying to dial that in. So I think Randy is going to be coming out. Randy and I will be coming out with a blog on the opening range here in the next probably 2 weeks, week to 2 weeks. Travis just put out a great blog on levels, so be sure you go check that out on the blog site. It's a part two of 2 is up now. So
it's a lot. Take your time. Just for what it's worth. We split it because I wrote, I think it was like 19 plus pages or something like that. So a lot of pictures, a lot of examples of how to draw those levels, and then how to execute a trade using those levels as well. I gave a few examples of my actual live trades from those levels to kind of show those are levels that I trust enough to actually trade. It's not a system that I'm trying to preach that I don't believe in. I truly do believe that I'm trying to help others when I try and share that. So
100%.
Keep that in mind.
So I was hoping that this would kind of stay up here a little bit, this candle, so to give me a good position to go short, but it just dropped down about 5 points right now as we were talking this last 10 seconds.
I see that.
I was like, dang it, what a great spot to go short. Now my position's not all that good. Now I really, if I'm going to get in a trade, I really would like to get my stop above here going short. So that would be, I'd get in at about 85, right? With a 5
I like that. Enter on the
short.
21. We've been respecting it all morning. So if you're going to take an aggressive stab at it, that's the first place that I would look and say, my stop's not super clear, but that's the first place I'm willing to enter as well, is off the bottom of that 21, that gold EMA that you see dashed because of how heavily we respected it on the way down this morning.
And if I do want to go long, if I decide, hey, Rob, I have a much better position to go long, well, I need to clear 75 for my stop, maybe even 74. So if I count up 5 from there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, I could go long where we're at right now. So again, we're not telling people to go short or long. We want you to make the decision. But if you're going to start your trade, build your trade around your stop. So if you're going to go long, where does your stop need to be? You're going to use a 5, whatever you want to use, count up from there and say, okay, here's my entry.
30 seconds left.
Yep.
One thing I want to add, this is the situation similar to yesterday that the beginning of a trend will start behind the 200, come down, respect either the 200, but now we've stair-stepped. We've gone from the 89 to the 21, and it's likely now that we turn around at the 10 and take off. Very common pattern of the market in a fast trend to retest the 200, retest the 89, the 21, and the 10. It's something I've noticed really over the last 6 months or so. I'll share a lot of that journal entry with you. I'd like to point it out. But seeing it stair step through those EMAs tell me this is a likely situation the market just runs off down. If I miss it, I miss it, so be it. We're at opening bell right now. I don't like that position to go short, but it's likely that we just see this fall out. So
yeah, I do have a limit order
at
41.85. So I'm going short at 41.85. That way my stop's around 41.90. You know,
I'm thinking about it right here.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I don't get in, I don't get in. That's okay. We're going to have our opening range here in a minute. Randy does a great job of giving us that opening range, that 30-second opening range, and it's going to be up. So we'll see what happens. And we're almost getting ready to get in the trade here. And we're in, folks. So we're in short at 41.85. Yeah, it's just a 6-point gain. So 41.79.5 will actually, what is it? Oh, wait, no. 41.79 will be my fill.
Man, it was pretty pretty quick at the top. I kept trying to get back in. It hit the first pay line already. So the bottom of the opening range is 78.25 and the top is 84.
84.
And it popped out of that range, hit the first pay line, came back.
Yep.
Scratched me, and I tried to get back in, and it's just too slow.
Yeah.
I got to get a better way of getting in there. So
what I'm going to be looking to do here now is do a retest. I missed it. I missed the retest. Well, that's okay. 78.25 on the bottom. And we're getting ready to fill here on our, hopefully maybe on our opening bell trade to 84. All right. So we haven't really found a direction yet. I guess our bias is long. I mean, based on the opening range.
So I reused that support level. We broke above it with a big green candle, came back and retested, which is why you see my entry right up against the same support level that held for an hour and a half this morning. So we've kissed my fill there, and I scaled out heavily. I had a 4-contract trade. Usually I leave one contract at 10 points, the other one way up in the sky. In this case, I pulled my runner down to the top of the channel, and I pulled my 10 down. So 3/4 of my trade is out at 5. The rest of it's going, I mean, I'm really tempted to take it. We're against the trend. We're against everything, maybe even under the 89. So I'm probably just going to take that fill. I don't like the idea. Another thing I can do is move my stop up. So instead of losing all 4, I could lose maybe a point, so that if it does crash back through, I win on 3 and then lose a point on 1 contract. But in this case, I want to manage my risk because we are against the perceived trend. I might take it at the pivot point. I don't want to try and do too much, but from a 4-point stop, I do want to try and get at least that amount out of my gain.
Yeah.
So from a 4-point stop, I did get 5 with the first 3 contracts. On the last one, if I can get more than 5, it's a perfect trade. If I get less than 5, then so be it. I'm still positive in the trade. But my goal is to get more than 5 points with every contract in that trade based on a 4-point stop.
Somehow we got knocked out of our, oh wait, no, we didn't. We're still in our opening bell trade. We have to 41.90. Now we got knocked out. So we just got stopped out of our short, and that's all right. You know, we really want to let the price tell us which way it wants to go now. Right now, the momentum is up, but we're going to wait and see what happens here, folks. I'm not convinced that we're going to be going up today until, again, we get above that 41.96 mark, you know, 41.97. Then I'll start feeling a little more comfortable. We could even say, hey, let's just break 4,200. That's a nice big number. Once I break 4,200, now I'll feel a little bit more comfortable with going long for the rest of the day.
Do you have an OB range, Randy? I know we gave him a lot of credit to
4178.25 on the bottom,
I'll type it in
41,
chat too.
41.84 on the top.
Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and take whatever we're at, just short of the pivot point at 89 right here. It's more than 5. Happy with the trade against the trend. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I chased it down and it ran with me.
Yep.
So we'll let it come back up a little if it does. If not, again, I take -1. My goal is to get 5 on this trade though. So my goal
it's
is
still
to
trying to figure out if it can break those levels. If it can't break a level, then watch out for the swing back down through.
Yep.
If it keeps breaking levels, it'll keep going.
Yeah.
So here we are. This might be our decision maker candle. 83 to 93 means I'd take right at, it'd be 9, almost 10. I could leave it at 10 and just take my runner as a fill. I like that idea.
Yep.
So instead of 9.25, I moved it to 10 just to keep clean math, clean numbers.
And just to key off of your earlier discussion, we were respecting the 21 pretty well on the bottom side. Now we're above it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying what was resistance?
If we start respecting it on the top side, it's kind of like a horizontal level, but with an angle.
I agree. I actually really like to see that. The first time an EMA is retested is one of my favorites. So when you break through and come back to retest it, if you see a turnaround there, it's a very good sign. An example of that this morning would be that first turnaround we saw where we were above the EMAs. We broke down through them, came back, retested the 21 and 89, and then had a pretty good move down. That is a very common pattern that you go from above them to below them. And you could see, like Randy's saying, we were respecting it on the other side too, as support on the way through the morning till it couldn't hold anymore, and then it was resistance. And there's our second fill at 10. So
we hit our second. Yeah, we hit our second 8. The other thing I'm seeing is we're crossing from the bottom Bollinger to the top right now. So that seems to be continuing. Now, when it hits the top one, which is right around where the 200 period is, that's going to be probably the big area of resistance right there, close to 4,200.
So there's our OB range. Oh, wait. Don't do this to me. Oh, no. You see what's going on? I'd keep clicking on my box instead. Oh, whatever. I just missed an entry point.
It didn't come all the way down.
That's what happened to me this morning.
Yeah, it didn't come all the way down.
Right, but yesterday I was a half point off. Same thing I might have done today. I was trying to get it there.
Yeah. I've got one sitting at 41.84 for a retest. So I'm looking for it to retest that opening range, and I'll look to get in. Only a 2-point stop, though. So I'm using a very small stop. So if I do get stopped out, I'm not going to risk a lot on this. Mm-hmm. What I'd love to honestly see, folks, is for this to test up here where it is. I have a big level at 94, which is got rejected at, and have it come back through the opening range, and then use the bottom of the opening range and see if this can go short today again. Because we have so much room below us, but above us, we've got a lot of chop that could happen. We've got a lot of levels to get through going up. So
agreed, but we have been down.
We have been down, but I would love to see it go down again. I know it's horrible. I'm a horrible person for wanting the market to go down. It just, I see a lot clearer trading below us than above us. Above us, it looks like we could do some chopping. We could have some tough time getting through some levels, but below us, below 41.75, there's a lot of room. So we'll just have to trade what the market gives us. So
I had a real life friend who trades a little bit of crypto and stocks, but doesn't do very much. Just a little bit of like a meme stalker, if you will. Oh, I need to put it all in this and all in that. And well, he asked me, he's like, well, how's your trading stuff going? I'm like, yeah, it's going pretty well. He says, yeah, but the market's been down lately. I'm like, yeah, I know. With like a smile on my face. Like, as long as I know it's going down, I don't care. Like,
well, that's another reason to trade futures is you can hedge against your long-term investments that are going down right now. Like my portfolio, 401k portfolio isn't looking all that fabulous. It's definitely down since January 1st, right? But futures, I can hedge against that with trading short when the market's going down. So it's a nice hedge. Give me a nice hedge. Now we'll see if this comes and retest. I have the same trade that you have in, Travis. So we'll see what happens here. It's probably going to come down and hit it.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Sometimes what I'll do if we're this close, I'll take this 4, turn it into a 3, and then enter one contract. so that one at least gets hung on. If I pick up my order, I get a position a quarter tick off of where I wanted it.
I get it. Yep. And you're at
And if
least
you
in
have,
one. Yeah.
yeah, and if you have a 1 point stop, you might not be able to do that. But from a 4 point stop, you can. And I'm starting to actually really like 3 and 4 point stop, depending on the situation. Like kind of like I said yesterday, if it fits with what the market's showing me, in this case, the OB range is right in line with that support level we talked about all morning. So that's another reason that I kind of trust it. If the OB range is one that I don't really like, then I'm less likely to trade it, or maybe I shorten my stop a little bit. But I'm trying to just, I don't know, like that's something I can ask y'all. It's something I'm testing. Do I trade that every single day, or do I trade it when I think the OB range fits? And so far, my hypothesis is when it fits.
Yeah. So Derek, hey Derek, thanks for typing in chat. Looks like all three. Well,
That was a while ago.
M2K, when he typed it, it was definitely was
they
up.
were up.
They were up. Yep, you bet. Now they're kind of ranging a little bit. It looks like Russell's ranging. NQ is up though. So NASDAQ is definitely up. So
yeah, that was a while ago.
yeah, we'll see what happens here. And hey, I do want to welcome too Chris. Hey Chris, good to see you, buddy. Chris is the leader of our crypto division, and he's coming in. And I'm going to be out tomorrow and Friday, so I'll be fishing tomorrow. Actually, I'll be in on Friday, but I'll be up at Clarice's house, so I'll be kind of hanging out, trading opening bell at Clarice's house. Yeah, we'll be trading, but I'm going to Travis and Randy and Chris will be here too, man. So it's great to have Chris on board. Good to see you, brother.
Right on. Good morning, Rob. Thanks. Good to see you too.
Yeah. So all you
Nice
folks,
trade, Trev.
Thank you.
hey, we have a live trading session for crypto in the evenings now. So Chris, you want to just briefly throw that out there? It'll be in our trader talk, but if people want to come watch that, is that going?
Yeah, Monday through Thursdays, and it's on an East Coast clock. It goes from 7 to 9. And the reason why we do that is some markets open around that time. And there's a nice volume that we looked back on, and volatility to that time that tells a little bit of a story of what might happen through the night. And so that's why we decided to move it there. Plus, people are busy during the day, trading the S&P, doing their lives, working. So we tried to also, it's funny how it all came together, that it works out better for everybody to sit and take a look at that, a market that never sleeps.
Yeah.
And so look for we have a short video coming out pretty soon about the crypto market that never sleeps and the different time zones and when they start participating more heavily. So
excellent. So excellent, folks. So 7 to 9 p.m. You can find that link on the trading room schedule. Just scroll down past the futures link and you'll see the crypto link and log in, say hi. And they do a great job of reviewing various coins and projects, and then also trading price action. I think that's the neatest part of it is you can take what you've learned in futures and literally transfer it over to crypto. Charts are charts, man. I mean, charts are charts. And I think Travis would even agree that sometimes the crypto charts can be a little easier to trade than the futures.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised myself coming from trading futures before I really took a good look at crypto charts. And at first it was, I don't want to say kind of like a joke, like I took it seriously, but it was more or less like, if this was futures, what would I do with it? And I started to realize how much it lined up, and it really started to hammer in, like you say a lot, price action is price action. Those charts really respect a lot of what we look for on the futures charts as far as trends, retracements, fib levels of pullbacks, 50 to 618. The Bollinger Bands are very heavy. The key levels that we draw are very heavy. I mean, it's just amazing to me that I almost felt like there was very little resistance going from a futures trader to a crypto trader other than a little less activeness, if you will. I set my orders where I set them, but I can walk away for a week or two, maybe check it 3-4 times a week if I'm doing well, instead of 3-4 hours a day like you might do futures.
Yeah. So almost more of a swing trade type of to where you might be in it from anywhere from a few days to a few weeks to maybe even a couple months.
That's my target, is between like a week and 2-3 months. I kind of think about what's reasonable. Same way we look at futures and think, what is the expectation out of a trade? I try and think, what is the expectation pointed at by this crypto chart? Where should I scale out pretty heavily? And then how much do I trust this asset in terms of, do I leave a little bit on? Some assets I might not want to hold on to, while others I might leave a good little chunk on, even if they're close to the all-time high based on the fundamental analysis of trusting what the company is doing out in the world, which is what branches crypto a little different from futures, in that in futures, you're looking strictly at what the price action tells you. And in crypto, you have to balance what price action is telling you with how much you trust that company, who created the company, how much funding do they have, what are they trying to accomplish with the company? Are people grabbing onto it? Do they have partnerships with other crypto agencies, if you will?
So
Agencies.
the fundamentals, look at the fundamentals as much as you do the charts.
Absolutely.
They go hand in hand, because there are, hey, let's face it, folks, just like during the .com boom, there's a lot of scams out there, and you got to be careful. But that's why we have FNL Crypto DNA. So folks like Chris and other people in that division, they do their due diligence and they can walk you through it. So, man, we've had this parabolic move up. I missed getting in this by 0.5 point. I think you did too, Travis.
I got in the first time, so I'm
you got in the first time.
But
yep. You got in
it
the
missed
first
me
one.
coming back, and I feel like I would have been in. I kept right clicking on my fib levels trying to set that order, and it kept pulling up options and whatever. I mean, that's why you kind of heard me mumbling under my breath, like, "Oh, come on,
a little
come
frustrated,
on," like, trying to set it as it's sitting there, and oh well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why somebody like Pax uses a DOM, uses a ladder, because he can get.
Yeah, if I'd have done that, I would have been in this with double the number of contracts I'm normally trading. So
yeah,
I did execute better than yesterday, so I'm up significantly. But man, that could have been a really, really good one.
Yep,
right.
Yep.
Because
I didn't get in it
and
either.
Came back.
Yep, I looked at the retest and I loved that retest of the opening range, and it did come back down, just missed me by 0.5 point, and then decided to take off. So now what kind of trade are we looking for now, Travis? I see you just put your fibs on there, Fibonacci levels, to look for where could we possibly expect a pullback.
Yeah, those were actually from the earlier move. It's funny how it lines up now. So I need to turn them around actually and just reverse these.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. So we've broken above all the EMAs. I'd like to see a pullback, a retracement, something that tells me we want to go long. A perfect place to see that, I'll go ahead and draw my fib level. So fib level from the bottom to the top, assuming this is the top, not yet, but we have hit a key level. We've also hit, if you wanted to draw this, see how this morning we've had trouble passing that area?
Yeah.
So you might use bodies to wicks with a rectangle from the first time we hit, which is around 430 or so, and just extend that to where we're at. Again, using the top of the wick at 430, you can see we're testing that area. We've tested it perfectly twice. We're back at it again. So jumping in long now would be almost foolish in my mind unless we break through it. So what I'm looking for is a pullback. I'm looking for something that tells me not only are we going long, but from the spot that I get in the trade, it should go to my fill. Not just, oh, it's going up, it should keep going up. I'm thinking if we get a pullback and a turnaround, that I can clear my stop and have a fill before we're back up to the top, so that I'm able to hit that as a target and know that the market has shown that gain as a reasonable expectation rather than just assuming it's going to keep going forever.
And it's too bad we haven't had any type of discount here to get in on this. It's just kind of running away from
what it is.
So it is what it is. Yep, can't be FOMO'd. So my next level would be at 42.30. So I wish I was in a trade here, and I use 42.30, because if I look back to my left, scrunch your charts up a little bit, Travis, you'll see yesterday at 12:15, we have a two topper there. We have a double top there. See it?
I like
up at
it.
42.15. Yep, right there. Yep. So that's
how this move is also similar to the move earlier this morning. That big up.
Oh yeah, at 350 or so.
Yeah.
Yep. It does kind of look like that. So, but we did bust through this level now. So now I'll be looking for some sort of pullback here. But again, if you're not in the trade now, you can try jumping on something like this. I would say do it 100 times and see if it works out for you. Typically, this is a type of move unless I'm already in it, I have to wait for it to get a discount on it. And it can be a little frustrating at times. It can.
Oh, it's a lot of frustrating when you realize, like in this case, I know a lot of people are sitting there with live charts like we would be. You miss a trade by 0.5 point, you start doing the math. Well, if it had run 20 points in 5 minutes, I could have blank dollars, and it makes you want to jump in long up here and say, well, it should keep going.
Yeah.
But that's almost the worst decision you can make at times. We talked about where to get an entry point based on a clear stop. So it's a safe entry to risk getting into that trade. And I agree too. Had I gotten back in,
Yep.
my OB range would have been extended, and I'd be sitting pretty right now.
Oh
but,
yeah,
well,
we would have been looking good. But hey, that's trading, folks. And I'm not here to capture every move of the market. I'm trying to capture moves that are in my zone.
Yeah.
And when this runs away, and my zone is not jumping on a moving train. My experience was when I jump on a moving train, what happens? My arms get ripped off at some point. So it's fun when it works. But I'll tell you what, do it 100 times of jumping on a moving train and let me know how that works for you after 100 times.
agreed.
So
one other thing, our goal is to help our members as much as ourselves. So even though
Correct.
I missed that trade by a half or a quarter point, there's a good chance that somebody out there who might not even be on the mic is having one of the best mornings they've had and just walking away from the charts. And Rob will get a text probably later like, "Hey man, I did good today," or something.
Yeah.
As long as they're not trying to fade this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times too. Yeah. A lot of times I'll get a text and it'll be, "Hey man, those levels you put in," or gave me a little clue of something because remember, we're not here to tell people how to trade. We're just showing you what we do. And then you need to figure out what's best for you. We have a foundation, Trader Creator of position, situational awareness, and risk management that you can build as a foundation. But from there, what we want to do is just kind of show you what we're doing. And, this may or may not work for you. I don't know. I can't tell you what's going to work for you or not. We can give you all the levels and the price goes to these levels, but what happens between those levels a lot of time is what makes or breaks you as a trader. So you've got to find that equilibrium, right? Of what do you call it, Travis? Between position and direction.
Yeah, the balance between
the
position
balance.
and direction.
Yeah, I mean find an entry, and you got to find that entry. You got to get that balance. And right now, I just don't see the balance. Everything is up. I don't see any pullbacks. I'm not willing to. Man, this thing just keeps going up.
Direction says up, position says go short. But why would I go short against huge green candles like that, right?
Yep. So it's just kind of I have to wait and see. And this is a move I didn't get a part of. I've gotten part of some big moves recently, but this isn't one of them. Oh well. We just wait now.
Going back on what you said, I like to think that we try to present concepts. Like I try and present concepts that have worked for me in a way that you can understand it, anyone. But unless you trust that concept, I would not recommend trading live money. I would strongly recommend against it. Our goal is to have every trader be able to trade for themselves with nobody over their shoulder. You shouldn't feel a need to be on session. I know that's one thing that told me that I had kind of graduated a level of confidence in my own zone. I had built a track record. I was positive on my track record. And when I would be live, I would trade. But I almost never would trade unless I could be on session. And the reason was I wanted to hear what other people thought. I said I trusted my zone, but I wanted to hear what other people thought. And nowadays, as much as I love FNL and everything we do, there are some days that I have to turn it down a little bit and say, I've noticed that I'm really on the fence at times when I trade. And the more sure I can be on my rules, the better that is. But bottom line, I trade for myself. So there are days that I will literally just cut off session. And it's nothing against anyone other than I have to make my own decisions. And it's something that I've become confident in. So it really stood out to me that I hit a point where I was almost more comfortable trading by myself than I was with other people, as opposed to the opposite early on. Yeah. So if you feel
I'm in the same boat. I tend to do better when I'm not on when I'm on the mic, when I'm not showing everybody what I'm doing. I feel like I'm a little encumbered because I know people follow us. We tell them not to, but they still do. So I feel a little responsible sometimes. And it's tough. It's tough sharing your charts and sharing all your ideas, but we're here to help people. So we're waiting here's our pullback.
It's pulling back.
Yeah, what goes up must come down. So we're just going to kind of wait here and wait for a turnaround. So while we're waiting for that turnaround, why don't we have Chris jump on? Chris, you still here?
Hey, I'm here.
Perfect. Why don't do you want to share your charts? Have you started sharing yet? Or share your screen? Because what I'd like to do is have you kind of go over a couple of things from the crypto and what we're doing in that area.
Okay.
I meant to call on you earlier when I was talking about kind of background analysis on companies and the difference between crypto and futures, if you wanted to speak a little bit there as well. But floor is yours if you would like.
Yeah, and what we'll do is we'll keep an eye on a turnaround. And if we see a turnaround come in, we'll interrupt Chris and say, hey, guys, we got a turnaround. And he's cool with that, I know. So.
All right. Let me see. I have to take the screen down really quick.
Do it.
Yeah, you can take his down.
Actually, I can't.
Let's
I'm
go.
not a host.
Go for it.
There you go. Let me make Chris co-host here.
All right, let's see here. So a couple things. We have awesome ways of communicating that we're working on the crypto side, and we want you all to be a part of it. It's called the FNL Crypto Member Group. I know that all of you are kind of signed, not all of you, but most of you are signed up to be a part of it. But do you get the messages? Do you get to be a part of the discussion is the real question. So there's somewhere you have to go. There's an app on your mobile device called Spaces by Wix. And Spaces by Wix is your access to a few different things, basically all the new blog articles that our guys post. So David and I are posting articles. Travis, every day I'm going to show you Travis's and the most recent two articles here in a sec. But if you have Spaces by Wix, you're already a member, you'll start to get these notifications. And they're usually pretty poignant. I know you guys know me. I'm not about spamming chat or spamming articles out there that just to take up your time. And if anything, these articles are private. They're in a private place for just FNL traders and members. So they're really to help us understand what's going on, changes that are being made, maybe a little bit of education. One of the latest things I want you to go see on here, we'll go in a minute, is one of the videos I posted from Coinbase. So we're not just keeping it in-house. Remember when we first began FNL or Futures Networks Live, we said, we want to find the best resources on the planet that are available on the internet. A lot of people that are, let's call them gurus or mentors, they stifle you from learning from other places. And they tell you that their way is the only way. And so whenever we first started to trade as a group, we discovered that we all had different information to bring to the table. And we had different resources that we shared with each other to help build each other a solid nucleus of where to gather information, like the economic calendar, articles about support and resistance, videos about trend lines and channels, all that stuff that members brought to the table. This is truly the only member-driven place on the planet. Everybody here is a member and a trader at FNL Crypto, at Futures Networks Live, and we do collaborate in many different ways, and we try things that we keep the whole group from doing, and then we say, wait a minute, a couple of us tried that didn't work well, or a couple of us tried this, and it's great. Does anybody else want to participate? This kind of thing on FNL Crypto is exactly what's on Futures Networks Live soon too, is a trader private discussion. So it's social media just for us. So you need to go, when you come here under the Discovery tab, anywhere where it says Discovery, if you click on it, you'll just be on our homepage. I'm going to work you back here so you know how to get here on the website again. So this is our homepage. It's been everything's been fully revamped on FNL Crypto. You can get access to the latest articles right here on the homepage. You can see right here, you get nice variety. You have something by Travis. You have something by me, which I think is one of my best pieces. Even Rob commented.
Beautiful piece. Yep.
It took hours. I was like, this is how long it takes to do it right? This sucks. But,
yeah,
that was a good article. I read through
it's
it
a great one. It's a great one. It really is a good one.
I felt good about it. And that's the quality that we're capable of when we really put why we're doing it. And why we're doing these things is to help each other. We're actually taking the paid membership off of FNL Crypto and just having a live trading room membership, which you guys are all welcome to participate in. You know that.
Yeah, no cost for FNL members for that, by the way. This is all included in your membership at FNL. So, or
we'll have a subscription membership for everybody else that doesn't want to hang out with us live and wants to see what we do. And there will be just two different compartments, and some things are coveted just for members, like the private group. But make sure you're making it in here to FNLCryptoDNA.com. You can get there through futuresnetworks.com. Click on the FNL Crypto tab. And make sure you're seeing, are there any new articles? Oh, here's one from 20 hours ago. That might be poignant. And like Travis was saying earlier, trading cryptos, the technical analysis that goes behind it is actually, it's hard. I don't want to say easier, but if you're an experienced or a seasoned trader, it's easier to see some of the patterns, chart patterns, reversal patterns, continuation patterns. And with the most basic indicators, the price action does something that you're familiar with, that you're used to. So when you understand the fundamental asset behind a currency, like Travis said, position and direction is everything. So once you have fundamental analysis, the FA, and you do what you do with technical analysis, you can have the confidence to trade cryptos also. And it's simpler. There's no barrier of entry for cryptos. You don't have to go through all the things that you go through to set up a traditional exchange for futures or for equities and such.
Brokerage account. Yeah. Go through
Right.
that whole film, basically signing over your firstborn and all that good stuff.
So homepage, I'm not going to walk you through, but just keep scrolling through. It's just information. A lot of, if you're just focused on Ethereum, we like to think this is great. Why is this a great stop for Ethereum? Because we're not reinventing the wheel. We have Trading View price chart. You could leave here and go to Trading View if you click this icon, which is something that we're predominantly using now on the crypto side, is Trading View accounts and charts, because they do amazing things. And you can use the FNL Diamond on your Trading View charts. That's amazing. Contact me if that interests you. The technical analysis that you can see is just, again, Trading View uses all kinds of oscillators and moving averages, not just for cryptos. I'm on here every day looking at the S&P now that Stoney Harriman pointed out the fact that, hey, NASDAQ and S&P, they might just be leading the crypto market. And we started looking and we saw divergence in gold. And we saw confluence in equities indexes and cryptocurrency market. So you could click on this right here, the symbol, when you go into your Trading View, and you can change what you're looking at, and you can get the I guess how the oscillators and moving averages are working together to give what's a signal in the time frame that you're trading in. So if you're a scalper, you got a buy signal right now. If you're a day trader like we are, you have a buy signal. If you got a day trader, but you got crap to do, you got a buy signal. If you just go all the way across, you can say, I'm a swing trader. So how's that going to work for me if I wake up in the morning and try to get out later? Oh, we're having a sell. All right. What's the 4 hour look like? A sell. I better go look at my charts.
Yeah.
What's the 1 week look like? All right. I haven't been by my charts all week. We're in a sell. I wonder what it looks like. There's things you can get from a quick glance. But the other thing I like about the Ethereum, there's no link for an Ethereum page. Like most of these have a link to go somewhere because it's all right here. You have our articles.
Real quick, Chris, we did have a little doji and a diamond right now, but folks, we're at the very top of the mark. We had a 5% pullback. I'm not interested in this. Even if this goes up, makes a new higher high, I have no position in this trade whatsoever. So keep going.
And I'll stop there when I hit the Trading View button. And then you have Trading View articles about Ethereum. And Ethereum's important. Hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap and lots of different relevant blockchain and cryptocurrencies are built on Ethereum and interact with Ethereum. There's millions of Ethereum transactions a day, tons. So we like to keep up to date on that just right here. This has nothing to do with us. You click on anything but these 3 articles and it's going to take you off our website. That's how it's more important to give good information than it is to keep people as customers. We don't do that. We should, because I think we should all file with the state, Rob.
Yeah, all right.
So there's some trading articles. So when we do technical analysis, some of these are just for members, some aren't. So you'll read half an article and it'll say subscribe. Go ahead and click it. You're already subscribed, but it needs to know you're logged in as you. Yeah. And that's it. You got social media. So you can follow FNL Crypto on Twitter. We'd appreciate it. Follow us on YouTube. That would be great. And then what other people have to say about crypto markets will be the article that kind of comes up here sometimes. And then podcasts, we're working on those right now. And there you go. So let's go back to another discovery tab and hit those membership groups. So membership groups is what this is about. The FNL Crypto member group is you. You're the member group. 26 of you already say that you are. So we want you to make sure that you understand how to get here. If you haven't logged in, this is a time to connect your email. Same email you use for Futures Networks Live or that you used here should automatically log you in. Here we have a discussion. We have the media people have posted, so videos and whatever. A list of the members that you can follow and interact with in the chat. We have the crypto link, again, 7 to 9 Eastern. And we have a quick look at basically the primary larger market cap things. I'll go there first, that are on our watch list. And here you can see that we do more talking about what's going on whenever things are all red across the board because it gives people better opportunity. We don't want people jumping in the market because of hype. So when things are looking like this, we start to talk to you guys a little bit more because it's time to start looking for the bottoms and the reversals and blah, blah, blah. So go back to the discussion, and this is where I'm getting at. I wanted to correlate Travis's comment with what we've done recently. Here's equity indexes were heading downward this morning. I wake up before everybody now, I think. I'm up at 4:30 East Coast. And as the VIX moves ahead, so the volatility index was picking up, and there's a good article to make that make sense to you. So you could have clicked on. This is a good one, Secret Network. You don't know what that is. It's been a secret. It's been on the radar for trading for us. And it's currently trading 435 with a 24-hour low of 406, which is 20% pullback from just the 4 days ago. Notice the 5-minute chart and the 15-minute chart are favorable in the RSI for a buy. Look for that RSI divergence in the next couple hours. Okay, so the members all get this to their phone if they have spaces by Wix, and they would have got that right about here when the chart was here. It was in this candle and it pushed up to 438. So this would have been when it had the low at 406. The high on this chart's just 554, but if I go backwards, you can see it was up to that 20% difference I talked about was way up there. It's off the chart right there. So if I bring it down, there's the high, 514. Okay. So here we go from 406 to 514, 20%-ish. And we're going to go forward now from that when it was at the 438 there. Yeah.
Nice move up.
Yeah. So that was over here. Right there.
Hey, real quick, folks. We do have a 618 retracement right now. We just had a big drop. So we're at 618. We're at all the EMAs right now, but we do not have a turnaround. So we're just waiting for a turnaround right now to possibly go long. Okay. Just wanted to throw that out there for folks that are watching their charts.
Where is it? There it is. No turnaround. The candle's still coming down.
There it is. Yep.
So also
nice.
on TradingView.
Yep.
A couple neat things about that. So really neat if this can come, you're looking for talking about RSI divergence. So you've had the signals here. This is not divergence. This is when it's, each point is going lower than the next one. And it's also matching that on the charts up top. So that's not divergence. What you see in divergence, almost divergence, is here, where you see the price goes down to here and hits a low down here. And on the next bottom, it actually went a little lower. But here we have it higher on the RSI.
Yeah.
So that would have been the divergence we're talking about. Very slight, but it's there. And we'll wait for that turnaround. You're getting a little rejection on the bottom there. This is a 15-minute chart, so we can switch to a 5 for.
Yeah, we are starting to get a little bit here. So we got a little bit of green up.
Little green.
There it is.
Little guy right here.
So what do you think, Travis?
A little bit of bounce off of 200.
Yep, we got all the EMAs are stacked right there. We're above all the EMAs and they're all stacked right on top of each other. So
halfway through that candle.
Yep,
it's also retesting that resistance line from the channel literally perfectly.
4,200. Yep.
4,200,
yeah.
Yep.
41.95 to 4,200, right?
Correct. So we're at the top of that channel that we spoke about this morning at 4,200. So this we'd have to take this trade and, pretty much have to, I would think, if we can clear our stop here, if this doesn't run away.
That's just it. If it closes green, it confirms the turnaround, and then you have to clear your stop. So if it closes green and we can't clear a stop, my rules tell me to go set a limit order where my stop clears. Somebody might say that trade's worth taking, but to me, it will be a double bar from a key level. So it will fit a double bar from a channel with a trend and a retracement. It is a first retracement, but it fits all the rules. So once this double bar closes green, I'll set a limit order where my stop clears from that position.
So if you're using a 5-point stop, let's just say, you're going to want to get in at about 42.02, I would say. 42.01, because if your stops, 41, let's say you put your stop at 41.96, count up 5 from there, that would put it at 42.01, right? If you're trying to clear the wick on the green candle we're in right now. Somewhere right in there. And it went away. So there's so much for that, right?
That's why we wait on confirmation, because it hit a key level. It's likely to show green when it first hits that key level. So we have to watch that battle and say, when the balance of traders hits, is it turning around? Not just are there leftover orders at the key level.
Yep. And now it's dropping. So folks, this is exactly why. And isn't this great how Chris can jump on here? He knows exactly what we're talking about. He's on trading view charts, and, you know, we can all be, you know, we can go straight from crypto, and then we can be talking about the S&P and trading. And here's Chris following us exactly what we're doing, and knowing exactly what's going on, because Chris is a trader, and he learned how to trade on the S&P 500. I think it's phenomenal, man. I just think it's so cool.
There you go. Your wick touched 4201, which is what Rob said.
Yep. Now we have to wait for confirmation of a turnaround. So we need a double bar here. We need a diamond. So we need a green up, really, is all it boils down to. We need to have that green up. Until I get that green up on a candle, I'm not interested in getting in a trade going long. Can't do it. Wouldn't be prudent. There it is.
Getting a red diamond instead. Guess what?
Can't take
we ain't done yet.
Yeah, we ain't done yet. All right.
So it's at the 50 right now, it looks like. Yeah, it's about the 50 on the RSI. Excuse me, which I usually have a line in there. I don't know where it went. Oh, wrong chart. I don't have one on the S&P. So the indicator doesn't come with one built in because I'm using script on my indicator, as you can see. That gives me a couple cool tags. But you can change the coordinates yourself on these. So that's the 50 line. I like to keep an eye on that. Oops, I also like to dot it so I know what it is.
Now, are we going to Randy or Travis? What do you guys think about trying to take a opening range trade? If this drops down another 7 points, we're going to be at the opening range again. Do we look to go long at the opening range, or do we say, you know what, I want to see if this,
hard as it rejected, is real hard to say.
Yeah, I want to see if this swings through. Actually, we got about 10 points. So, but if this swings through, then I'm going to look to go short at the bottom of the opening range. This is pretty hard, coming down pretty hard, folks. So pretty hard. Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm going to cross the middle of the Bollinger.
Yep. So I think I'm going to wait for this to come through the opening range and look to go short on the other side of the opening range versus trying to take a bounce here. This just seems like it's too much pressure to try and take a bounce. Although if I did, it'd be at a very short stop. Very short stop.
I like it because of how stretched it is, how far we've come down over 3 or 4 candles. So I'm in right now at 84.25, and we'll see. So that's the top of the opening range. Same trade as before.
Yep. So you're going long at the top of the opening range.
Our prices are a little different. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So you're in. Good job. We'll see what happens here.
Right. Like Chris's market never came down to that when I'm looking at his feed. That's why I say that our prices are different.
Yeah.
How different are they? Just so I know.
You're at 89. We're at 84. So about 5 points. 83.
It was in the same point the other day. I think it really has to do with volatility.
Well, you're trading on the SPX though. You're not. So
but the thing is when I do the ES, it doesn't give the same feed as what either.
Yeah.
So this is usually the closest feed to the ES.
Yeah, I get it. The SPX is at 250 a point. So that's the big boy. That's the real big boy one. And you will see a little bit of price difference between the SPX, the ES, which is the E-mini, and then the micros. And because they are literally 4 different products. Now they're based on the same underlying asset, but they're 4 different products or 3 different products. So you will see a little bit of price difference, but the price action is going to be the same.
There you go. Is that right? Is it? No, not.
We're at 41.83 right now.
So it's the wrong contract.
Yep. Wrong contract, probably. No, because we wouldn't be trading on 322. That contract's done. That contract's expired. So we're not trading on that contract anymore. You would have no chart if you were on the wrong contract right now.
Okay. So let's open this and see what I got.
ES1, that's the one. It's ES1, I believe, with the exclamation point.
Yeah, I think that's the one I tried to use. Watch. That's the one. ES1 exclamation point.
I think that's the one that I've used before on TradingView.
And that's what I'm on, and it doesn't seem
Okay.
just the data doesn't seem the same.
Yep.
And it's really not even close. That's why I use the SPX.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. So I just, that secret, that trade that went up to ridiculous. It was the only post from the day, and it's neat because Darwin reached out like, where do I get secret? I'm like, well, go look on
Where do you
Kraken.
get secret?
Go look at Kraken and Coinbase. But it just had a way. Well, 5-minute charts don't always work in some markets. But yeah, from there, from that dip, right here, there's the lift. That's where the article came out. We said, hey, the low's 406. So take a look at it for yourself. Again, we don't tell people where to put the orders. We're transparent with our orders because you'll see them on our charts a lot. And there we go. When you got down to that 406, well, and double bottom, this is what we were looking for. There's the break. So that's confirmation. You can get in anywhere around here, 415, you're happy, especially on the EMA right there, 413, 414. And well, and you also had 3 chances to get out with a pretty good gain unless you're greedy. And we're talking that's a climb in just a day.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice climb.
Some cryptos are swing traded for weeks. If you're holding them for weeks and months in order to trade them, then you just made a bad top buy. And so, the market does something like that and traps people. So there's something to be taught about harvesting your tax losses and repositioning yourself. Mm-hmm. That's been something we've been very successful at lately. And you're not going to know how to do that. You're going to see things go against you and go, oh, I'm not sure what to do. The nice thing about trading cryptos is the stop outs is on you. Like you're going to stop yourself out or not, because your asset that you're investing in, your spot asset, it's not a derivative like a futures. It is going to be yours to hold as long as you want. It'll go down to fractionalize like 12 decimal points, 16 decimal points. So it takes a different kind of, understanding of what you're doing in trades, because they're not going to be necessarily stopping out and filling when you set the trade with a bracket order. You have to do that yourself.
Yeah.
And know your own threshold for what you're willing to take. And
this connects to Kraken and Gemini and your TradingView charts. You can hook them up to your broker. I know you can't with Ninja, but I think you can hook them up to
the neat thing
Gemini.
is if you're learning about crypto, or let's say you're here for the first time at Futures Networks Live and you're like, I'm not ready to go through an exchange yet. I'm not ready to fund an account. I'm not ready for all that. I don't like the free versions of things where they're trying to get me to upgrade and pay. You can come to TradingView, which I have a referral on the members group. Go use that referral because you're helping FNL Crypto and FNL. But if you want to have an account with TradingView, if you ever decide to have a paid account, then it does benefit both FNL and you because you save money. But you can have a free account and just keep, closing out the sponsor, like do a 30 free day trial now. Just keep closing that out and you can paper trade. Nice. So that's for cryptos, metals, whatever you want to trade, anything with a price.
Hey, real quick, Chris, I did get in a trade. You guys going short. I'm going to share real quick, Chris. Okay.
Yeah, me too. I had one chop and then now
let me share real quick. And then I want to go back to crypto, but boom, we just made 4. So this is a 4 contract trade. We got our +4, our +8. Now we got +12. And now we're on our final contract to 16 pointer. We did not get on the trade going out the top side, but boy, look at that, folks. We did get it here coming out the bottom side of the opening range. And I know it looks a little convoluted on my screen right now, but I have my opening range as the blue line on the top, the blue line on the bottom, or this area right here, this gray area. So we could.
Bollinger. We just did a 2-to-2 cross.
Oh yeah. So look at that 2-to-2 cross. So we could be looking at, folks. Could be looking at our move down that we were talking about earlier. We're just gonna have to kind of wait and see.
We also hit right at that 15-minute level at 41.65. We mentioned that if you scrunch your charts a little bit, you see that double tap right there where you had the level. You've already got it on there. I mean, just to the left, you can see where it's drawn from.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep, right here.
yeah, exactly. The one you have
Yep.
down there. That's right where we're rejecting from.
Yep. So if we get through that, folks, then the next level I'll be trading to is 4140. But I am going to go ahead and just keep this fill right here. So at one contract, this would be a 40-point trade. So if this fills. So now my bias has gone from going long to what? Going short, because I'm breaking levels. So now I'll possibly be looking for a retest, a pullback, and a retest of the opening range, and then to go short. So that's the plan. So go ahead, Chris. I want to keep going with the crypto, and we'll break in and you know, if we see something that looks like it could be a good trade. So
Let me just share.
yeah, go ahead. Let's keep going. We're kind of at a spot now
go.
where we got to kind of have to wait a little bit anyways. So
Good deal.
Mhm.
Well, I switched over to AVAX while you were doing that because I'm watching things because, like we said, they're very, very correlated. And here you go on AVAX. It had the same kind of rejection that we saw on the bottom because it went down first, or it went up, then down. And then whenever your red candle rejected, this was kind of chasing up with it. So from this rejection. So that was kind of interesting.
Now we're kind of right in the middle, it looks to me, like on AVAX. So would this be a spot? This kind of looks like a spot, unless maybe we need to see a little bigger. Yeah, I guess we're kind of towards the bottom. Not horrible.
Yeah. So AVAX here, let me go a different time frame. I forget how I wanted to show AVAX. I think it's an hour. Yeah, we had some really good stuff on AVAX. Here's that divergence we were talking about. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
We had divergence on the chart. You like that, Randy? We have the RSI coming up.
Oh yeah, I love divergence.
Yeah. So we hit the 30. It didn't give the bull signal that it gives. So that was kind of cool that we said, hey, I like this ourselves. So we were able to get in at 68 even.
That's a great spot. Yeah.
And, you know, it was scary because, you know, every time it's coming down and barely moving up and not really making a lot of progression, that's a sign of more bear movement to come. So, you know, you're thinking, am I going to DCA? Am I going to close out and get into another? Right. Exactly. We love the range.
Yeah. I mean, this is exactly what we talk about, Chris. When we talk to everybody and we say, okay, if we're trading in a range, what do we do? Well, we go long at the bottom, short at the top, right? We stay out of the middle. So would I want to get in a trade right now? Probably not. But if I could get in down here going long, holy mackerel, what you guys did. Yeah. What a great spot. That's beautiful. Charts work the same way. It's just charts, right? Don't be scared of crypto, guys. It's just charts. Exactly. It's just charts. That's all it is.
Yeah, the double bar from a key level that came back to pick you up. So even if you were looking at it exactly like a futures chart, that last chart, it hit the bottom, showed a turnaround, and then came back to give you that position that you would have wanted. So it gave you the inclination that it was turning, and then gave you the position in the trade, just like you would on a futures chart. So really cool.
we did get our plus 16 on the final, guys. So that trade, we ended up being a +4, +8, +12, and +16. Now we might be looking for we're back up into the opening range right now. So now I'm going to be looking for a turnaround here and possibly looking to go short. So it's kind of a shallow retracement, but boy.
This right here, when stretched out, and I'll stretch it out I'll put it in the box here in a second. Oop, I got to get off of that. When you stretch this out, I'll bring it back. That right there, we call an inverse head and shoulders. And what's really helping with the FNL diamond is that it's helping us get that visual to go with it. I say, oh, I have a point. Oh, my middle point's the lowest. And now my third shoulder is about almost the same distance. And therefore, and it's the shortest of the shoulders going back the other way. If you know anything about head and shoulders and inverse head and shoulders, I want the middle point to be the highest or the lowest in an inverse. And I want the last one to not quite make it. And that's a good signal too. Now here we have our FNL diamond. So if you waited for it to close in right here, you're in a nice position. Maybe worst case scenario, you're 68.92. Maybe you gave up a little bit of your position. But that inverse head and shoulders is the reversal signal you're looking for. This is why we were getting in at 68, was we finally said, I think this is the third point of a inverse head and shoulders or a triple bottom. And when you spread that out, these are hour charts. If I try to squeeze that same into the box, let me see if I can get it back and change it to a 15-minute. Well, we got to scrunch it up now, but it's a little easier to see because there it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that you can see that pretty clearly.
Yeah, I can even here. So there's the easier way to visualize the inverse head and shoulders. There's a good way to visualize the divergence. This is this point here is higher on the strength index, yet that point was much lower on the candlestick. So that's the key divergence. Now we're looking for the proof, and this is big, guys. Now I'm looking for the proof. So finally the candles pass the top. I didn't buy this yet. It passes the top and confirms. But of course, now it's going to do what Travis says. It's going to come retrace. Now, where's it going to retrace to? Oh, but we know that 68 was a common place back here that it broke once. So I wouldn't want to be in higher than 68. No, not me. And boom. I mean, that's that. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
And that's because of, I think actually we maybe did get in on this one. To be honest, but it doesn't matter. The point is that if you're in on it or not in on it, you're looking for certain things that give you the confluence, and then you're looking for the position. You identified the direction. Okay. Hopefully. That's just whatever you use to identify it. It's kind of tight sometimes when you come out of consolidation to pick a direction. So you're looking for things like the longer term charts. What does the daily say? What is the 4 hour? What is the hour? What are we doing now to give me the best entry position? So we're doing the same thing on cryptos. Now, go back to the discussion. Is that mine I put up there? Yeah. Let me delete my crap. So, hey, it didn't come
Got
up
it.
right.
I got
So
it.
here's if the first article is always going to be the trading room link, 7 to 9. Come join us. You can be in the background. We just do charts and news articles and who knows what else. We keep it pretty, whatever people need help with. Last night, Jonathan Fletcher was in. We talked a lot about
cool
things.
Nice.
Which, speaking of which, I think I have something with him pretty
I think
soon.
I owe him a phone call too.
You have a conversation going. Darwin works all day, so we do a lot of communicating through here. We found, you guys are always curious about trading bots, and Pionex.us, and use caution on this, explains the trading bots and the different strategies that you can set very easily to mitigate your risk and all that jazz. So I was checking this out and thought I got to share that with people. I'm not trying to get you to do a Pionex account or use trading bots. It's about an education on the whole thing.
Yep.
Because I know bots are happening. That's how the whole market moves at the same time. Bots, strategies, programmed algorithmic strategies are beating day traders, or day traders are beating strategies. It's going to be one or the other.
And our philosophy on that is we know that 80% of the the market, the futures markets are done with automated trading algorithms. So what we want to do is we want to work with the algorithms. We do not want to work against the algorithms. And if you can learn how to work with them, and that's where this momentum trading that we've been doing, the 30-second opening range, that's what that's kind of based off of, is, going with everything. Why do you want to be that one person, that one bot, that one whatever that's going against the crowd? You want to be the one that's going with the herd. So we embrace it. We don't necessarily say it's a bad thing. It is what it is, right? So
here's a great look at Kava. Kava's one of our favorite assets. Please read the article about Kava because it sheds some light on their projects that are hyped. But we were watching it, and of course, you start these channels and you say, hey, it's going to retest. You point a picture to your friends at this point, and they text you and you tell them 396. And then what you have to do, your responsibility is say, hey, wake up, because it's sort of 544. Yeah. Let's keep an eye on this. So I got out of this at 547. It went to 558 on a second swing because it did one of these numbers, but then it came back to $4 again. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool stuff when you can be on top of this this situation. And I only got out because we were up. This has been a downtrend for some time before recent turnaround. And when we hit this red mark of overbought on the RSI, I didn't want to have to mess around with it. I said, I'm going to wait my turn, and boom, it pulled back and gave some really good positions to get back in. And of course, it's it's all relative to where your first entry point is. You want to make sure that your moves are profitable. Just because an asset goes up doesn't necessarily mean it should be sold.
Correct.
This is a great one. Why are we moving to the nights? I think you guys saw this article. This turned into another article for the public, but this was where it came first. It was just for members. And the next day I rewrote it as an article for our blog. But it's explaining the volatility that's happening, and this kind of a volatile action, both up and down. And I probably should have shared a bear chart and a bull chart, is happening between 2000 and 2400, between two, before 3 in the morning. A lot of decisive volume in one direction, like a market has the same sentiment. And then another market comes in and says, ooh, it's at that price, I'm going to sell, or I'm going to buy, whatever. And it reverses the sentiment. Then the American market comes on. And it goes it all goes together, including the S&P as of the last quarter.
Yeah, it's S&P and crypto has been really tied together, especially recently.
We're making a video on that, how these are all tied together, how there's 100 million crypto addresses, wallet addresses just in India. So anytime the clock goes by their opening mornings, it's going to be significant volume. And that's important to know. So
right on.
I think that's about all I got on here. We keeping that, took a screenshot and said, hey, check out this. Here's how you get the watch list if you're interested. Explaining hard sometimes. This is, don't read this, please. If you don't know about cryptos, I don't want to know more than this. You'll never come back.
Spin you out.
Ben, here's a good one for you guys. And I'll stop with this one and put this into the chat. Easiest way to get it. And it's about exchanges. What are we using to do all this? Well, there's centralized and there's decentralized. And I'm here to tell you that I use 80% centralized and 20% decentralized. I do everything kind of that way. So read this article first. If you have more questions, reach out to me or David. David's great about security. So there's a reason why we do some things centralized and there's a reason why we do some things decentralized. And I think you should understand the difference of what those mean, which companies are which. Just to give you a little insight without having to read it: Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, Bittrex, centralized.
Awesome.
Uniswap, SushiSwap, PancakeSwap, KavaSwap.
It goes on and on, doesn't it?
Yeah, decentralized.
Yeah.
So that's the difference there. You're talking about something centralized means someone's governing it, someone's regulating it, someone got it approved by the US government to even do it and offer it to us. So that's why we use centralized. It's no different. Like, people are worried about the security risks in cryptos, Rob.
Yeah.
And I need them to know so is everybody. So there's vetted exchanges that we can use that have just the protection built in. You can still lose all your money just because you don't understand when, but it's there to help American traders, consumers, whatever you want to call us, get invested into the market, into projects, and with an exchange that have been vetted by the FTC, the CFTC, the SEC, and the IRS.
Yep.
And your president himself, I'm sure, has got some Dogecoin